The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Friday morning. Jack, how are you feeling? I haven't asked you that in the beginning of a show in a while, so I want to do this.
I'm just like, I don't think Terri cares how I sleep anymore. Never me and Star. She don't want to hear about it. Diddle, you sleep. No, I feel great. It's Friday, and I'm trying to go pickled so I can watch out. Picky DJ.
Oh, our guest of the day, she just go ahead and steal the thunder, Jack. It's fine. It's totally great. It's, I'm here for the collaboration and the partnership that we have. It's totally fine. If you haven't already, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you're watching, because as you can see, Jackie and I are definitely ready to bring you some feel-good vibes today. As Jackie alluded to, our feel-good topic of the day, we're actually going to be talking about navigating a life as a creative entrepreneur with DJ Rusty G, who is also known by his music producer name R2G2. We're going to get into all of the backstory behind his music production side of things, because we've always known him to be a DJ. Most of us, I say we as the collective we, Jackie and I for sure. But if you didn't know, part of DJ Rusty G's backstory, we're going to get all of that information for you. So make sure you stick around for that. And if you want to laugh to get your morning started, make sure you stick around for our feel good vibe of the day, which is joke time with Jackie. Now, we're going to get you started with some Barmy Twitter drama on this Friday morning, because, Jack and I do like to bring the tea because it's first thing in the morning. So we're talking about some bad habits that some small business owners have on the island that they need to unlearn. So let us know in the comments, what are some habits you've seen or some interactions you've seen online that you think some of our small business owners in Bermuda maybe just need to step back away from? Now, for context, yesterday there was an entire moment on social media because someone had mentioned that their skin was dry from the products that they were using, and they were trying to figure out why that was the case. And they mentioned one particular local Bermudian brand, not in a derogatory way or even in a negative way. They just said that they were using that particular brand, Holy Grail, and also share some other information in that particular tweet. Somehow the wires got crossed and it became an entire thing on social media. And I think one of the things that Jackie and I kind of spoke about last night about this particular topic, it's the pettiness of some small business owners that is probably needs to go away. Jack.
Desist.
Huh?
Cease and desist.
Cease and desist. Absolutely. So Jackie, let's talk about that particular idea of pettiness, right? Because the customer was not really even, she never named even the products that she was using specifically.
Well, she clarified that the products that she was complaining about wasn't even the products of the local company. So it's a case of, I think everybody just needs to take a pause before they react. When it comes to businesses, you always want to be able to make sure your customers are satisfied. So I think a simple solution is to message the person, ask them to DM you, or you can DM them yourselves and say, hi, if it's my products that are giving you an issue, I suggest that you refrain from using them, let your skin catch itself, and use the products on other areas. I know she'll say that she was using a sugar scrub. Sugar scrubs sometimes aren't good for everybody's skin types. So you can use, but they're good for your coarser areas, your elbows, the places that get rough. So your elbows, knees, your feet, things that will collect dry skin a little bit more. You can use it on your hands if you use your if you work, if you like construction workers or somebody that uses their hands a lot, just to get the calluses to be removed, make it nice and smoother. So it's not like the products can just be switched and used to a different area of the body. A lot of people have sensitive skin when it comes to their face, so you just have to try and error. It's the same as hair products.
Exactly.
I use a million different hair products, and I'll just be like, so I used this hair product and it didn't work for me. Does anybody else have some suggestions? Nobody was bashing anybody. It was I need help with this situation, and it just went a little too far, and it's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. If you're just joining us, Jacky and I are discussing the saga that happened on Bermuda yesterday. It didn't even start out as an issue, like per se. No one was coming for anybody in the initial conversation or the initial tweet that I guess started the whole Bermuda drama. But we're talking about small business owners and some of the bad habits that they need to unlearn. And I think one thing we've talked about previously on this show, and we've just talked about just now, Jacky just mentioned, is the small business owners like jumping in, like just wanting to defend themselves without, like Jacky said, taking a pause and just having a moment to really think through the actual situation. Like, even if someone is having a critique on your business, just taking a moment to think through the best way to respond and not just come across as defensive, which
I can understand why somebody would be defensive about a product that they've put hours into creating. So I do get both sides. But like I said, I think everybody can take a pause, and a simple side conversation goes a long way. Twitter is very petty in a who.
we love a little drama and we love a little petty.
I mean, somebody can say, for example, someone's just like, I've never met somebody from Bermuda. Do people even exist at Bermuda?
Charged. I just want to acknowledge that Sean Smith is watching us. Thank you so much for watching. If you're just joining us, go ahead and let us know in the comments. Say good morning to us. Jump in on today's Feel Good warm-up question of the day. We want to know, what are some bad habits that small business owners need to unlearn? I think another one that they need to learn is that they can't do it all. Like, I understand that, there is a cost element to the different parts of your business. So I totally get that. But you can do it all. And at some point you need to have a conversation with yourself to say, it's time for me to like step away from this particular position or offload some of these tasks to someone else who can be a little bit more objective. Because like you said, if you're putting your blood, sweat, tears, and energy into this product, this is your baby. So of course you're attached to it. We have seen time and time again, mamas, daddies, a lot of people that love a particular child, if they get chastised by someone, we're all ready to go. You're all ready to like defend that child. So I totally understand, the need to want to defend your product. However, if someone with more of an objective mind could have seen that particular tweet, one, they probably wouldn't have even thought that they were being talked about. But then two, they probably could have, like you said, given them suggestions on how to better use the products, or maybe, like you said, take a pause from using the products, try another product that they have in their line. Maybe it's a diet issue. It's cold outside, it's windy outside. Like, all of these things could be like factors to why someone's having an adverse reaction to your skin products. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this fight, this combat. Like, it's not always a fight. Like, can't we all just get along?
And I think another thing that Bermuda's businesses, because a lot of businesses in Bermuda will be considered small businesses, and I fall into this category of reply time. Sometimes messages get lost in the emails, and I'm just like trying to get back. And I always hit when I do reply, I am so sorry that it took me this long to reply. Here's all the information that you were looking for. Please let me know. And here's my number. Call me.
Because you're like, email is not the thing.
I'm so sorry. Once again.
Email is not the thing. I just want to say good morning, Janae. Thank you so much for joining us. I know one of the things that helps with that, and I do this in my day job and the side business as well, is scheduling admin time. So scheduling time to check email. Now, Jack has got like the word is schedule, so I don't know when she's going to schedule in her admin time. However, having like an hour at like the beginning of the day and like 30 minutes at the end of the day, or whatever works with your schedule, at least 2 times a day, scheduled time to check your emails usually helps with, the emails getting lost in the sauce.
I agree.
So I think time management is a skill that they should take on. It's like you said, the reply time, being so late with it and just not responding at all.
No, I have to respond. Sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, okay, I have to do this tomorrow because
it's going to be a month at that point.
And it is 10 p.m. Are they going to be okay if the phone go ping at 10?
Well, a lot of email service providers now, like Gmail, Outlook, they allow you to schedule it. So you can just like type it late at night, do your grammar check or whatever, and then schedule it for like 8 o'clock or sometime in the morning, which I think like that's helped me a lot with, like you said, not feeling like I don't want to send them this email at 10 o'clock because they might not even see it.
I'm the one that wakes them up, and I'm just like...
And then they're having a bad morning the next morning.
Spam. It's not spam. You can't get mad at Forever 21.
I mean, you can't. Because they send you like a bunch of different emails and you're like, all right, sis, I know it's my birthday, but leave me alone.
I know. Like, thanks for the 10% off.
But I know I shouldn't take anyway. Yeah. It's fine. It's totally fine. But looking at the time, I think it's time for Jacky and I to take our first commercial break of the show. And then we're actually going to bring in our guest of the day, which is DJ Rusty G. He is backstage and ready to talk with you all about his life as a creative entrepreneur. So make sure you do not go anywhere because Jacky and I will be right back with our guest of the day.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert. And if you're just joining us, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you're watching, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, and also make sure you react or like this episode. Jacky and I are about to start our feel-good topic of the day. We are discussing how to navigate life as a creative entrepreneur with our featured guest, which is DJ Rusty G, also known as R2G2. So we need you to help us welcome our guest today to the show by dropping your favorite good morning emoji as well as a music emoji, because he does all things music. And so we're going to get into his story right now. Russell, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Morning. How's it going?
It's going good. Jacky and I are ready to talk to you. We got a little warm-up conversation going. So now our chops are ready to ask you as many questions as we can in the time that we have with you today.
Listen, social media was spicy yesterday. so you was touching on the right topic just now.
Exactly. So switching gears though, we just want the audience that probably don't know you, maybe this is the first time they're seeing you. Can you just share a bit of your origin story in music? Like, how did you get into becoming a DJ?
Oh man, I mean, I've been doing it now for years. I posted something on Instagram yesterday, actually, 2006, a picture it was. So I mean, I've been doing it for a long time. Started in my college days with all of my brethren back then, and really and truly, I just started doing it because we was out in Toronto at the time, and we was going to different parties. We used to love to party, and we wasn't feeling the vibe that we was getting from the DJs that we saw out there, that we heard out there. That wasn't giving us that real authentic dancehall reggae vibe that we're used to in Bermuda. And so we figured, we could do it. We could do it better than them. And so we started off that way, and I just stuck with it. And here we are now, however many years later, still at it.
I love that. Over a decade in the game, and still young. Still got more decades to go.
Yeah. Still got time.
One thing about Bermudians, no matter where we go, we're going to take over the DJ booth. Every single international tournament that I've gone to, where we've always found a way to be like, yeah, and here, I brought my laptop. And somebody takes the mic, somebody's the MC, and the vibes are always there. So, I know how
definitely
that is.
Yeah, and I mean, and we ended up making a lot of moves in the college scene out there pretty early, you know what I mean? And it's just like, because a lot of people like the fact that we was authentic with the selections. We may not have had the greatest skills back then, but we knew the music, and that was the most important thing back then. And it's crazy when I think back on it now, because it's come so far from that. you know, and what I'm doing now is it just feels like light years away from where that was, but I still love it just as much, you know.
Love to hear that. Jack, it's your turn now, sis. I started the conversation. You have to carry it up next.
All right, so when you decided to leave your 9 to 5, everybody has their tipping point where they're just like, yup, that's it. So can you tell us what yours was?
I can't even say it was necessarily a tipping point. It was always something that I wanted to say that I would do for myself, you know. I think I mentioned it with your counterparts on the Daily Hour before, where it was like it was really just getting a plan together. You know what I mean? Me making sure that when I do make that decision, it's the right decision and not putting myself in a financial crisis just to pursue a dream. You know what I mean? So I had really took my time with it. I planned it out over a course of a few years. You know, making sure that what I was doing as a DJ was going to be able to sustain my lifestyle, my livelihood before I made that leap. You know what I mean? So I guess that's probably the best advice I could always give is just make sure that, you know, you got your ducks in a row and everything is kind of making sense before you just make that leap, you know?
And then, so what were like some of the key milestones? Because, you know, there's a few aspiring DJs that are probably watching. I know you have a few students in your, I'll call it a school. But I know like a lot of people will look at your story and kind of see your success to them now. And they might think, oh, it's going to happen for me just like that. Like, talk about the time frame it took for you to get there. And like, what were like some of the key milestones you had to achieve before you could actually say, okay, yes, I'm ready to exit the 9 to 5 life?
That's a really good question. I would say, you know, to kind of piggyback off of what you guys were talking about earlier about service and about, you know, kind of understanding customers and all of that. I think that for me, it was when I had realized that I had a good solid foundation of relationships with people that are either putting on events or people that own venues, people that I've worked with in the past that I would be working with again. And it was like, you know, you see a pattern. It's not just a one-off thing. It's like, you know, if I've been working in a particular club as their resident DJ for X amount of years, I can look at that and say that that's something that's relatively stable. You know what I mean? And so when you start to add up those relationships, then you can kind of really say to yourself, this makes sense, as opposed to it just being like when you're starting out, you're probably getting a gig every week, every other week. It's not really consistent. You know what I mean? Like you're on a flyer this month, you might not be on a flyer next month when you're starting out. So I think that one of the key milestones is kind of really looking at your year and saying to yourself, all right, well, look, I'm working consistently. Like I'm here on this place, you know, I'm every Friday or every Saturday or whatever. And then you can do the math and figure out whether or not that's going to make sense for you. You know what I mean?
And so we have an audience question that I want to get into. This person also said, just shout out to the TO Nightlife. He said he misses it as well, Sean Smith. And then his question for you is, do you use vinyl with digital or are you completely digital today?
Oh man, I use so much different gear now. So at home, my home setup is digital vinyl. So I haven't got rid of the turntables. That's what I still use. That's what I still practice on. All my mixtapes, if I stream at home, I use vinyl, digital vinyl, that is. But when I'm out and about, I might plug in a CDJ, which is like a digital controller. You know, I plug into all kinds of different gear nowadays. But yeah, vinyl is still my go-to. If I have a preference, if I have a choice, I would definitely prefer to use vinyl.
And I would say it's vinyl the one because, you know, still kind of just slightly a little novice over her. You were doing like some scratching at one point. Like you were trying to learn the whole scratch situation. Is that specifically on vinyl or can you do that on like digital vinyl or just straight
You
digital?
can do that. That's a great question. You can do that on anything. Any piece of DJ gear that allows you to manipulate sound is going to be able to give you the ability to scratch. But in terms of like the purists, you know, you're going to want to get on a 12-inch vinyl, and it's just going to give you that feel. It's going to give you that control. It's going to allow you to do more with it. And it's just a lot of the OGs, you know, it's a culture thing. You know, it's for the culture. I prefer vinyl, and I can't stress that enough for me. But everybody's different. You know, everybody's got their own preferences, and you can use anything to be a great DJ. You don't need a specific type of gear to be a good DJ.
I love that.
So I could be a DJ.
You could absolutely 110%.
He has classes, Jack. Ask him about the classes. I mean, if you wanted to put yourself out there, just go ahead and ask him, man. He's right here.
Here we go, Rusty. That's the question. You have classes. How do I sign up? What's the protocol? Make me great.
Make you great? I can promise you that I can teach you the fundamentals of what it takes to be a DJ, but I can't make you great. I'm sorry. That comes from within, and that comes from a person that needs to want to do it. You gotta love it, and you gotta put in the time. But I do have classes. I do have students that I teach regularly, and from different ages, ranging from 9 years old to almost 40 and over and up. So I do classes. It's a beautiful new step in my journey. Something that a lot of people have asked me for years if I would do, and the pandemic has kind of pushed that step aside. That's pushed it forward, I should say, for me to be doing that now.
And I want to ask, Jack, if you don't mind, I want to ask, what's the? You don't have to explain the whole curriculum and the course, but how long is it? Is it an ongoing thing, or do you have a set time? If Jackie says she wants to start DJing in 3 months, she wants to go play pickle next to you in 3 months, is that something that the course can help with, or is it a longer time span? What does the actual course look like?
Well, I mean, so it's what I typically do is more of on a consultant basis, a case by case. So I kind of assess where somebody's at, because you have some people that's been doing it for a few years that ask for lessons from me, and then you've got people that are starting from scratch, that don't even have equipment, that say, well, what kind of equipment do I buy? So normally my first conversation is trying to get a feel for the individual, figure out what they know, what they don't know, if they've spent time doing it or not. You know what I mean? And then we start to progress more into what are your goals and where are you trying to see, where do you see yourself, and what do you want to be doing? And then I will kind of tailor or curate, a set of skills that you would focus on to get you there. So some students just want to learn scratching from me. They feel like they know how to mix, and it's the scratching that they really want to get a handle on. So that's what we focus on, and that's what we deal with. Some students just want to learn how to mix, and they don't want to deal with scratching at all. It's just not their thing. They don't want to do it. So we work on mixing, or we work on selection, or we work on organization of music, all those different things.
Got you.
So it's not a straightforward question. I'm sorry. I can't say to you, Jackie, I'm gonna see you next month, at the next brunch.
It sounds like a lot of work. I kind of want to just be your hype person and your MC and just press a button here and there. I'm like, all right, get on your feet, guys. Just a hype girl, Everybody's favorite DJs in the building. Get up.
So you want to be a toaster, Jackie? That's what you want to be, and that's
she wants to be an MC.
Yeah. She definitely wants to be an MC.
There was a video on Instagram where it was Faith Evans. But it's just all the chicken heads, be quiet. All the chicken heads.
You want to be? I actually saw that video.
And I just oh my god, I kind of want to be that. I wonder if Rusty would let me have the mic so I could just
ask the chicken heads if they want to be quiet.
I might jump up on stage tonight. You never know. I'm gonna bring my mask. Well, I have to bring it anyway, right? Anyway.
Yes, you do. It's a requirement, still mandatory.
Just a little bit. We had obviously seems like we're coming to the end of the pandemic, but there was a little situation where we had lockdown, and I want to know what your transition was for the initial lockdown. What were some experiences during the transition, and your challenges, but also some positives that came out of it, like any opportunities that may have come out of the fact that you were on lockdown?
That's wow, pandemic, and we're still in it. You know what I mean? It's it was a shock to the system. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Range of emotions, just like I think pretty much everybody when it first hit, and then it was after the initial shock. It's okay, well, what are we gonna do? When we start to realize that this is more than just a couple of months, and that this could be a new way of living, which it is. We're here doing digital interviews right now, so this show is proof of where the pandemic has brought us. For me, it was really adjusting the business and kind of looking at more smaller curated experiences as opposed to the big events and the big parties. You know what I mean? Because we can't do those anymore. Right. So coming off of 2019 with Flag Invasion as an example, where we had over 1,100 people there. You know, I'm saying to myself, well, when are we going to be able to do another Flag Invasion? It's now been 2 years, and we still going on to the third one. I still don't know if we're going to be able to do it this year. But what I have done personally is go to more smaller events, more curated experiences. Things like brunches have become really successful. You know what I mean? Private events where it's more or less guest list only, cruises, those types of things, day parties, daytime events. A lot of that stuff has basically become a necessity because of curfew. You know, so we've made the adjustments, or at least I've made the adjustments that I feel like would need to be made to be able to continue doing what I do in this situation, you know.
And I want to come to this comment. So for the first time, DJ, the Jackies of the world, and those of us that, feel like they can be a DJ if they just put their mind to it. We kind of mentioned there might not be a DJ starter pack per se, but could you talk about like which platforms do you think work best for yourself? Because I have this question from the audience that I also wanted to bring up as well. Sean Smith asks, do you have a YouTube channel? And if so, do you stream your music 24/7 or just upload your mixtape? So can you talk about like, what it is that you're currently doing to kind of get yourself out there and promote yourself as a DJ?
Okay, that's a great question. So, I mean, there's so many different channels that you can use. Me personally, the mixtape / mix has always been a go-to for me since the very, very, very beginning. That was something that I always enjoyed doing because I always feel that a DJ's responsibility, or at least part of a DJ's role, is to introduce people to new music, or at least to express themselves musically by showing this is what I like to vibe to. You know what I mean? So for me, I push a lot of mixtapes a year, and if anybody that really knows me knows that, like, I drop maybe anywhere between 10 to 15, all kinds of music ranging from dancehall, soca, reggae, reggaeton, Afrobeat, all of that stuff. So mixtapes has been a big thing for me. Radio as well, obviously. I was on FM radio for many, many years. That's a big thing as well in terms of promoting yourself. But live streaming is a big thing now as well. It's not for everybody, you know what I mean? So I do live stream as well, but understand that sometimes you have to kind of find what works for you and what's best for you. If you're starting out and you're trying to get yourself in the game and you're trying to build your own fan base or trying to build your own support system, sometimes you just have to try out different things and figure out what works for you and then just stay consistent with it.
Now, to continue that particular answer, now, there was a time when you were known as the soca DJ, and I used to take it personally when people used to only call you the soca DJ because I'm like, have you not been to hear him play? Like, he doesn't just play soca. Do you have a particular genre that you like to play, or a particular genre that you like to create your mixtapes for? Because I know you do them all, but do you have like a favorite that, if you had to pick a baby, that would be a favorite one?
I don't think I can at this stage. If you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, it would have been so easy, right? Like, I mean, when I started as a reggae dancehall selector. That's what I was. I knew nothing else. I knew no other music. Don't ask about no hip hop. I that was all I knew. That's all I downloaded. That's all I listened to. That's all I only went to parties that played that. That was it. As I grow, as I've learned, I've picked up new genres on the way. If I had to answer the question, if I absolutely had to answer the question, it would be something Caribbean. Basically, anything that is Caribbean is what I'm down for. Reggae, dancehall, soca. If I had to cut everything else out, that's where I would be.
That sounds about right.
Do you have a favorite experience? Because like with tennis and traveling, there are some memorable moments. Like when people say, "Oh, why do you love playing tennis?" I'll be like, "Oh, there was this one time." Da, 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 da. What is your one time, or two time, or three?
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. That's really tough. I would say that probably a couple of highlights for my career to so far would be locally it would definitely be like the Marshall Montano show with Pure. Big shout out to Wild Apache and that team that had put me on for that. That was probably one of my best performances locally, I would say. The Chronic show as well was a big one here for me. And if we're talking overseas, one that's very memorable for me is Soca or Die in Toronto. I want to say it was 2019. Yeah, 2019 Labor Day weekend. That one was a big one for me, a big moment.
I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, I might want to try that because I've been trying to get to Canada. I've never been to Canada, and so I was like, oh, that might be a nice little something to go to because I know Rusty, I know like some of the other DJs that were there. So I'm like, oh, this is something that I could probably enjoy. And then like March 2020 happened, and I was just like, wow, I guess it's just or die. There's no soca. Just like, dang it, the party's gone. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
good. Now, we spent a good bit of the conversation talking about your DJ life, and I just want to just quickly transition over to you becoming a music producer. Why did you decide to make that transition, and what do you have coming down the pipeline, or what are you currently working on in your music production space?
That's a great question, and I mean, why did I start doing it? It was something that I always wanted to do. It was something that I always kind of had in the back of my mind. And as the years went on from DJing, it was just a logical step, but I never really took the time out to do it. The pandemic allowed me the opportunity to be able to step back and really put my head down and focus and learn what I needed to learn to be able to do it and do it properly. I'm still learning. I'm still learning every single day, so I'm still new to it. So in terms of advice that I could give in this lane, I don't even know if I'm qualified to do that, to be clear. You know what I mean? But I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying everything about it so far. And things in the works. I've got a few different projects in the works with a few artists here. I can't say too much yet, but so some good stuff in the works.
That's like every music producer always has that little caveat at the end. It's like got a lot of things to work. You can't say just yet because that exclusive release is like it's a big thing. I love it though. I appreciate it because it's like, damn, we understand.
Well, you know what it is?
Real.
It's because you work on so many different projects, but you kind of really never know what's gonna come out and when. And it's because you're working with so many different things, and it's like as an example, there's a project that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to drop soon. I've been working with an artist now on this project for a little bit over a year, and you know what I mean. So like it might drop this year, it might not. I don't know. I don't know, but when it does, you'll definitely know. Let's put it that way.
Perfect.
Well, Russell, as always, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence.
Well, thank you so much for having me today.
One final question before we wrap it up and we send you on your way so you can get ready for Pickle tonight. Yes?
Sure.
What is your favorite song of 2021? Not 2022, 2021.
2021, my favorite song? Jeez, put me on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the stuff I made, obviously.
Outside of the stuff you made.
I would say probably the Wizkid and Thames song. Most likely, I want to say that's probably the biggest song of 2021 by far. The Afrobeat vibe has just been a whole mood for me. You know what I mean? Recently, so yeah. I would say that's probably the one.
Well, I was gonna say great answer. I actually was thinking that one as well. So I feel like I am like in spirit. I could be a DJ. I just love to watch you guys.
You're in tune.
I'm in tune. I feel like I know like you. Sometimes I be feeling like I'm a real DJ when I be naming the next song. I'm like either I listen to this person play a lot, or I just really know how the vibe's supposed to go. But either way, Russell, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you for taking your time. No problem. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a good one.
Take care, guys.
Jacky and I will be right back after this commercial break. So make sure you go ahead and let us know in the comments your thoughts on today's episode and our conversation with DJ Rusty G, also known as R2G2. That is his music producer name. Make sure you drop those in the comments, and Jacky and I will see you after this commercial break.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lamb. And if you're just joining us, we just wrapped up our conversation with our guest of the day, which is DJ Rusty G, aka R2G2. That is his music producer name, in case you were unaware. Jackie, when you asked Russell a question about his most memorable experience, he did share his, but there was a member of the audience that shared hers as well. She said hers was when he's played at Southampton Princess. They have never had a party there since. So I think those are moments that are going to be like nostalgic moments for people, because who knows when we're going to do things. Like, who knows?
I know. I have my memorable moments. What? His had some wicked sessions. That's why he's my favorite DJ, because I'll be there and I'm like, all right, like, just grooving, and he'll slip back into some like 90s, and I'm like, you know, this is me. Front and center.
It's the turn up afterwards. I know for me, one of my favorite Rusty G memories are like the early days. So like at Docksiders, like those, and Docksiders are not like the best, for ventilation, but like those were like for me the best moments to experience him, because for me that was like the early days of like him in Bermuda playing, because I didn't go to school in Canada, so I really didn't have experience that over there. But that for me was definitely probably just hands down my most memorable moments, because I've seen like his growth in his events, like how they've gone from just the general parties to like themed events, like you come in for a specific vibe.
Flag Invasion, I remember the first year versus the last year, which was at Fort St. Catherine. That was insane.
I saw. And I was prepared. I was prepared for 2020 to experience it. Prepared.
I don't think I've missed one since the first one that I went to, which was at Pier 6.
Okay. That's where I think we're starting. I've seen like some of the older flyers. Like,
and I remember saying, that's so far. That's like St. George's.
Don't do that to us.
It was far. Well, I mean, because you gotta drive, you gotta pick up people, and then you leave there sweaty and drenched, and I'm like, I'm gonna drive him drenched. Like, I should have brought a change of clothes. You're having a good time. You don't even think about what you look like at the end. You're getting back to the car, you're changing the mirror, you're like, I've been walking around looking like this, a hot
like
mess.
A monster.
Just sweat everywhere. Like, I had a 5-hour workout, but I had a blast. Always like there's never been a situation where I've gone to a Rusty G event or his just DJing and not had a great time.
Exactly. And Sean Smith enjoyed our conversation with Russell, and so did Karen Simmons. And so we did talk about Restaurants Week yesterday, and Miss Karen was supposed to let us know how Barracuda Grill was, and she said the meal last night was
wow.
Okay. So on that note, Jack, I think it's time for you to give us our Virgo vibe of the day, which is Joke Time with Jackie. If this is the first time you're watching us, all you have to do if you're watching on Facebook is react to the episode. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and drop the emojis in the comments to react to Jackie's jokes. I'm going to try my best to guess the answer or make my answer as silly as I can. Over to you, Jack.
Okay. What kind of street does a ghost like the best?
No street. One they can't see.
A dead end.
Sorry. when they catch you off guard like that, because it's like, oh yes, they are dead.
What do you get when you cross a tall green monster with a fountain pan?
A tall green monster with a fountain pan? I don't know. The Green Giant?
The Incredible Hulk.
I thought it was the Incredible Hulk, but I just did it. Wait, say it again.
What do you get when you cross a tall green monster with a fountain pan?
And you said the Hulk, right?
The Incredible.
Oh, ink. Good night.
Okay.
Good day and good night. Sean's jokes are hilarious.
One say to the other.
Look at her. She can't even get the joke going. Take a breath. Pause. Like you told these small business owners. Take a breath. And then say the joke.
Okay.
See, she can't even do that. She can't take her own advice.
Stop. Okay. What did one invisible man say to the other?
I can't see you.
Long time no see.
She's boring, you lot. Like boring.
My abs hurt.
Well, good. You got your workout for tonight, so you can join Russell at Pickled Onion tonight. He just joined us in the comments. He said, "Morning, all. Thanks for having him." And so make sure if you're on the island of Bermuda and you have not already reached out to the Pickled Onion team to see if they have space, still make sure you do that, because
after me, though, I need a table.
Oh yeah, after Jackie. So when Jackie does it, she'll tweet it. But just keep in mind that all of the Rona regulations are still in effect outside of curfew. So there are safe keys needed for indoor events, particularly dining in. Masks are still compulsory. Maintain your physical distance as best you can. And if all else fails, just be kind, spread some love, and don't get on Twitter and start drama. We don't need it.
Or do vent. It's a vent space.
Or do. It's your Twitter account. Jackie and I can't tell you what to do with it, but we can mute you if we want to.
Exactly.
As always, Jackie and I hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the day has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aniana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you next week for more Feel Good conversations. Until then, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.